This clip is sponsored by American Mobile. If you're a nurse interested in traveling, visit americanmobile.com to get started. I kind of want to back up and just go through kind of the steps in writing and the editorial process, like from ideation to publication. Are there, kind of walk me through, the steps from start to finish.
Okay. So there's that planning and research piece where you're trying to simultaneously pick the journal that you may want to write for, focus your topic. And so you're digging into those two pieces, and they kind of go hand in hand. I wouldn't say one's first and one second. So looking at your topic idea, how you want to focus it. And again, you don't have to know right away from the beginning. Sometimes that focus develops as you do some of your homework, I'll call it. So looking at journals, looking at your topic, and using the author guidelines. Like I said, ours have a lot of tips on writing. Using other resources on writing for nursing publications too can help. So that's kind of, your homework. Then once you have selected your journal, you have your author guidelines, I would recommend a query if that's in the author guidelines. Again, just to get feedback from the editor now that you have a topic focus. And then the literature review, I guess, too, is simultaneously with that. As you're looking at your focus and your topic, review that literature. I'm old school. I like to print the articles, but that way I can read them and write in the margins and carry them with me and things like that. But it really does help you absorb that content. So as much as you can read on the topic, do that. Maybe there's books on the topic that you've never, looked at before or whatever in nursing or things like that. So read as much as you can on that topic. So you're doing all that background work. Then you sit down to write. The steps in the writing process, we already talked about starting in the middle and then working your way out. Oh, I do I missed a spot. I do recommend an outline. Doesn't have to be complex. I would say even 5 bullets is good just to start to get yourself organized, but that's also good for your query letter that you send to the editor. So a couple bullets and an outline. Then as you start to write, start in the middle with the meat, and then you'll use subheads or headings for different sections, and that really helps break up your text. If you have 3,000 words without a subhead, it doesn't break it up. So use subheads. The other thing that you can use, are sidebars. So, a chunk where you can take out a title and a list of components that are in your article, as opposed to writing the narrative. It saves space, it saves word count, and it's a nice visual for the author. And then the other thing about that is you look like you're really, you really know what you're doing when the editor sees that you have some sidebars in your manuscript. So pull those pieces out. It really does help with your writing. So your manuscript, the narrative total will be smaller, but you'll have maybe 2 sidebars or a table and 1 sidebar, things like that.
Sure. Okay.
Get your colleagues to review it. You can also, get your colleagues review, but simultaneously you can be doing your editing. You should really, once you have your manuscript together, and again, I know the beginning and the end pieces come later, but once you have those written and you think you're kind of near finishing your first draft, you do want to edit that at least 3 times.
Okay.
I would say. So, and this is where it gets a little tedious and you're kind of tired of it because it's been
you're like, I don't want to read this sentence anymore.
It's hard to, even read it anymore. But if you read each sentence and read it really carefully, maybe even read it out loud, and then cross out words that don't need to be there, You can eliminate, say, for example, you have 300 sentences. If you eliminated, 2 words per sentence, that's 600 words. That's a significant to page in a journal. So, and again, remember, shorter is better. That tighter read. If you think of what you like to read, it's good writing. It's clear, concise, to the point, and it keeps you intrigued. Engaged. Yeah. Because it's so well written and it's tight. So that's different than what we were taught in school, right? Shorter is better, more concise. So getting the review by the colleagues and then reviewing it 3 times yourself, where you can, maybe each time cross out a word in the sentence is really going to help your writing. You'll see it'll flow better. If you're really brave, read it out loud. Or have someone read it out loud to you, and you can really see where you can maybe tighten it up and do a better job. And then, I think that's it then. You're ready to submit. Again, make sure you're following the author guidelines, because again, the editors can see that right away. So, And then when you submit a query, and is the response to the query like, okay, that's, an interesting topic, we'll see what you come up with? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we respond to the query. I give them a word count to kind of go by, and I send the author guidelines to make sure they follow those. I may give some other suggestions as well. Sometimes I get queries and they're extremely broad. I want to write about being a strong leader and developing better retention policies. Little too vague, so you need to get a little more precise. That's where, those 4 or 5 bullet points really help.
Yeah.
And again, you don't need super detailed outline, just a couple bullet points.